Hello there, I'm Vigalius. How's it going? Okay, you may have noticed it's slightly more echoey right now. I'm sitting in my kitchen because it's the best place to hide in the house from the evil Wolfenstein-esque robot Nazis coming after me. Alternatively, my kid's asleep and I don't want to wake them. So we're going to go with this. I'm sat in the kitchen, my laptop is currently on the hobs, and I'm going to have a chat with you. I'm looking at a Monster Energy drink because I'm tired all the time. And you know, I've been watching some TV though. I've been trying to catch up with TV. Have you seen Shogun? Shogun? Is it? I think it's Shogun. Have you seen it? Holy cow, dude! That show is fantastic. That is such a good show. Oh my god, it's on Disney Plus. Everyone's raving about it currently. I think it's a Fox FX show, which means I'm kind of a little bit annoyed that I like it so much because I'm not a huge fan of the Fox network. But I guess it swings and roundabouts. I mean, it's owned by Disney. It's a whole parent thing. It's a huge umbrella thing. But man, this show is so good. Holy cow! Basically, the show, for the uninitiated, is set during like this, you know, ancient sort of Japanese time. This Englishman, I don't want to spoil too much, but this Englishman with some other Englishmen in a boat, he's sailing out to, I mean, they're pirates, they're sailing out to, you know, get treasure and stuff, but his sort of agenda is that he actually wants to find Japan. He does find Japan, and then he's basically held hostage. Sort of, yes and no, and he has to teach Japanese people about his combat and about like using cannons and commanding and stuff like that, and it's badass. Now I'm not going to do a review during this video because the show isn't finished yet. We're up to episode 5. You still have plenty of time to come back. Each episode is about an hour long, and you know, you can get that done in 5 hours, and then you're caught up and you have 5 more weeks of content. By the end of the season, I want to review it because it almost feels too good to be true. You know what I mean? You know when you watch a show and you're like, no, man, this has got to go downhill at some point. This can't stay this good for as long as it is. Although, it feels like a very confident show. It feels like one where I'm not really sure whether I can see a dip. But I want to wait until the end of the season, and then maybe I'll do like a slight spoilery review at the end of the season. But man, it's really good. And like, why would I recommend it? I mean, what makes it so good? So initially, straight away, the first thing you can tell immediately is that for a TV show, the production is immense. The production is breathtakingly good with comparison to a lot of other TV shows, and I'm taking into consideration stuff like Game of Thrones, you know, the big guns. This might be some of the best production I've ever seen in a TV show. The world itself is tremendously convincing by use of, you know, excellent sets, great location scouting, but also like the use of the gradients. I love the color scheme in this show. It's so heavy on like navy blues and slightly lighter blues, and it's so intense. The coloring in the show is so intense that it like masks everything in this sort of like cloak. But whereas sometimes I really don't like that. I don't like it when a show does that often. But here it really works. Like they've really delved into the intensity of the aesthetic, which matches the intensity of the show. I will say this show is not for the faint of heart. It can be very brutal, which I know a lot of people love, and I myself do too. It gets quite dark immediately as well, which is, you know, a bit of a trigger warning there. It does get very, especially with some of the themes it deals with, it gets very dark. But you see like blown off limbs, you know, stuff like that. But it's, you know, it's very brutal, very intense, and very theatrical. But yeah, I mean, they just like really envelop on that sort of earthy, granity texture to the show really tremendously well. But then every now and then, like, a character will be standing by a gorgeous lake with like cherry blossoms just falling as they talk, and you're reminded that, you know, this does feel a little bit narrative driven. It does feel a bit sort of, you know, epic and almost fantasy based, despite the fact that it isn't. It is based on a true story. I think a lot of it was probably embellished. It feels very quote-unquote based on a true story, but no, maybe not an actual true story. But it's just excellent. I mean, like, all of the performances are great, with the exception of maybe the lead. I don't know what it is about the leads that I'm kind of off with. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it's not working. not really working for me. And when I say the lead, I mean the English lead. I guess there are other lead characters, some that you would recognize as well. The like big general guy is someone I've seen in many things. I know who's in Bullet Train, which is a film I actually really like, and he's been in a few other bits, but I can't think of what they are. But yeah, he's instantly recognizable. But everyone else, you know, gives an absolutely fantastic performance. There's a lot of opportunities to like chew the scenery in this show, and people definitely make the most of it, and that's fantastic because that's exactly what I want to see. And yeah, it just feels as though they're just really going for it with this show. There's nothing held back, and I absolutely love that. So give it a go. It's on Disney Plus currently. If you have Disney Plus, I would absolutely recommend Shogun, and I think a lot of people would. I think it's currently sitting on a 9.2 on IMDb, and people absolutely love this show. And it's so rare to see people so like universally happy about a show. It feels great. I feel really good about this, and so do a lot of people, and that's really nice to see. So anyway, I'll see everyone later.
The PlayStation's only $149, and you can also get leading titles.